Hi everybody, how are you doing? So Chris from Remax Lifestyle Punta Cana. Today on this session we have Pamela Simmons from Toronto, and we have the Buffet of Sergio Diaz with Susanna Mishkan. Let me correct me if I spell it wrong. I have a lot of chances. And his team. So Sergio is a very well-known attorney here in Dominican Republic, specialized as well in the area of Punta Cana on the real estate department. So the idea of the Zoom is to cover 5 questions that are going to be very useful for all of the people that are watching this video. Right, Pamela?
Yes, that's correct. Many people are familiar with purchasing pre-construction here in Canada and in Toronto, but some of them are not familiar or perhaps are nervous about purchasing in places like the Dominican Republic. So we prepared a few questions that we thought would be a great opportunity for our people to get to know a little bit more about the legal process and kind of pick your legal brains so that they will feel more comfortable with the process and understand it a little bit better.
Excellent. So let's start. Which one is the first question?
Well, I can go in order. So the first one I have is the confouture element. That is something that is very foreign to us. And so understanding the benefits of the confouture laws and how that impacts foreign investors and how do they qualify. So I know it's kind of a bunch of little questions mixed into one, but ultimately it's about the confouture legislation.
Well, thank you so much for your question, Pamela. Pamela, correct?
See,
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to introduce us as a firm before responding to your question. My name is Sergio Diaz. I'm also co-founder of Diaz Presencia Asociados. On my right, this is Susana Macachan, Giuliani Romano, and Ana Dominguez. Also, we have here Mirelis, our secretary. She's in the back. And yes, now I can go ahead and thank you for the opportunity. And actually, it's a pleasure virtually meeting you. Hope this can go well for both and we can understand each other and help you in the legal aspect. So to
thank
respond
you.
to the first question, if I'm correct, you said, what are the benefits of the Comfort to law in the Dominican Republic, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So the benefits are sustainable many ways on terms of taxes. You can avoid paying the 3% transfer tax. You can avoid to pay capital gains on rental programs, and you can also avoid property taxes that every year are payable in certain amounts in the Dominican law. So if the property has the comforture, it's something that we can validate, we can confirm before you purchase, will be very beneficial for these foreign people that will do this purchase. And we have to make sure that the property is in a touristic area of the Dominican Republic and that has the official resolution that validate that this project or future project is on comfort. So I don't know if you feel satisfied with my answer. If you have any other question, you can let me know.
So just to kind of clarify, so you identified that the property has to be in a touristy area, and it usually is pre-approved for this process before somebody buys. So it's all on pre-construction or new construction projects.
Yes, that's correct. The first thing to identify is if this project is on one of the touristic areas that are in the Dominican Republic. Secondly, you have to validate that the process has been started or requested to the authorities and the government of the Dominican Republic. And then you can validate it pass all these departments that will get the comfort to.
Okay, excellent.
We can
Thank you.
help you as a law firm in case you need any assistance in that. So you can let me know.
Well, it's funny when you talk about these tax benefits. We do not have these tax benefits in Toronto. And in fact, there is lots of capital gains taxes. They just changed the rules. So that makes buying in the Dominican Republic a huge benefit, even if we only looked at that one piece. But I'm in Toronto, and in Toronto, we also have a vacant home tax. So we have property tax, vacant home tax, capital gains tax, tax. So I know you will never buy here, but we will certainly buy there just because of some of the tax benefits. So that one is one of the ones that makes it super exciting and easy for an investor to say, I'm going to divest in Toronto because I want to reallocate those funds to a place where I will get a bigger bang for my buck, pretty much. Uh, let's move on to the next question. So the next question I had was the process about residency. So I frequently get the question about residency and sort of the difference between if I'm planning to come and go from the Dominican Republic or if I'm planning to come and never go. So how is residency acquired for people who are looking to invest?
Okay, this is a really good question because we have different laws regarding residency. And the first thing you should know if you're going to buy a property is like any non-resident can purchase a property and be an owner, and it will be a legal purchase. So the fact of your status, immigration status, doesn't determine if you can or cannot buy. That's number one. Number two, the process actually is start in the country where you live in the embassy, and there are two different laws. We have the law 171-07, which is the investment law, and we have the general immigration law, that is the 285-04, which is the general immigration law. And you can apply by being renters in the investment law, an investor, a pensionist, and they give you a lot of benefits as well. Or you can apply by the general law as an employee, manager, artist, religious, person with high standard for working, or if you're gonna get married in Dominican, or if you're gonna have something that connects you with the Dominican Republic. And basically, this process is something that when you start applying, they're gonna require you some of the documents from your country to validate that you're in good health, good financial position, that you have for example, a reason to go to Dominican. Everything, all this goes through first the consulate in the Dominican or embassy in the Dominican where you live, and then later pass to the immigration department in the Dominican. And yes, can be tedious, but it's doable if you have what it requires to be done. And I would say if you wanna do it, just staying over more than 60 days, the only thing they have is there's a fee to exit the country. It's like a small penalty. So I have a lot of clients, they purchase in Dominican and they can stay here 4 or 5 months. And then when they leave, they just pay the fee because it's an infraction. They come here because they have a property. Some other people, because they would like to stay here longer term, they apply for the residency, especially Canadians, American. They apply for the, sometimes as a rentist, they have sort of incomes in the States and they can prove to the government they can have this income for more than 5 years. Or they have a pension from their government, or they have a pension from X or Y, more than $1,500, and they apply because they want to have their pension here. And they want to live here with that money that they receive from abroad.
Okay. That sounds very reasonable for people that would like to consider residency. It sounds like it's something that's very easy to achieve.
Yes, absolutely. If they have what they need, and I think the most important documents that they're going to be asked are if they have a criminal record, if they have a proof of funds, so they can validate if they're in good mental health, physical health, if they have basically why are they going to Dominican and for what. So all these things will be a doable process, start in their country and then later pass here in immigration. And of course, if you need any assistance, if you have any person that we can help them out and we can try to make it easy for them so they can understand the process.
Perfect.
In either by the general law or the investment law.
Excellent. Thank you. That was a very robust answer. So that also kind of answers the next one is, are there any restrictions or complications for foreign owners owning property in the Dominican? But it sounds like from that answer that there really isn't a restriction.
Hey, Pamela, nice to meet you. My name is Shoshana Magarchan. You are so close to say it correctly. And I can respond to your question. How Sergio mentioned, you understood that everyone can buy property in Dominican Republic. For that reason, most of the people from the world decide that they want to do and invest their money in Dominican Republic because it's the same laws for everyone here. It's the same if you buy the property here or if one Dominican buy a property. So for that reason, it's very easy to do this process. And one of the important things is always you need to check all the documentation before you're buying a property, because normally it's in Spanish and in the legal terms. So our recommendation is always have a lawyer who can assist you in all this process.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. That to have a lawyer who understands the process that's one of our key features, along with making sure that we have good partners, which is why I like working with Chris, so that they know the builders and they know the product, they know the area. So you're right, it's partnerships all along that make the difference. So thank you. That's excellent. And I was kind of comparing this next question to things in Costa Rica, but how does the Dominican Republic title registration system work to ensure that when I purchase a property, me and or my investor purchase a property, that the title is registered to them?
Okay. So basically, your question is, what is the process in Dominican to register the title on
Yes.
the buyer's names?
Yes.
The first thing, me as a lawyer, I like to do is due diligence on the title, on the previous owner, right? So once we do a previous due diligence on the taxes, there's no encumbrances, no liens, then we can start negotiating with the contract. Okay. Then once we have the contract, we formalize the contract. Then the contract says that's perfect because we pay and they give. Then we have to pay taxes to the government to transfer this and register this on the title register department. Okay. So once that is done, is when the person has the ownership on the title, and that title is on their name, on the buyer's name. Some people, for privacy reason or for liability reasons, they sometimes incorporate a Dominican entity as a society to put the title on their society name, so they can keep, let's say, their privacy or for liability or for any other reason they have.
Okay. I know that kind of the flip side of that is when they're looking to sell their properties, is that an easy process from a legal vantage point as well, to eventually divest? So you want to purchase, they register the property in the person's name, now they want to sell. Is that an easy process?
To sell it? Yes, also. As long as, let's say, you keep all your taxes up to date and you keep the property free of liens or encumbrances, it will be an easy process to sell. And if it's a condominium, highly recommend always to keep, the obligations with the condominium up to date, like maintenance, all these obligations that you have as an owner. And yes.
Well, it's amazing. As you describe everything, it is very similar to what our Canadian investors would be familiar with. So I think that should make them feel a lot more comfortable that they're buying in a society and in a country where they make it very similar, so that it should give them a sense of comfort. So that's really excellent. One of the last questions that I had is, how much does it cost? So besides the purchase price of the property, how much does it cost? What would they be looking at in terms of some of those costs for taxes or legal fees, that type of thing?
I will let Susana explain it though. She's okay. The one who does everything in the cost here.
So the first thing that the buyer needs to know is, in case that your property that you're buying don't have comforter, you only pay the 3% of the value in the taxes department. So of the price of your unit, you pay only the 3% when you buy a property. That's one of the first things that you need to know. And depends on the value of the property. After that, annually, you only pay 1% of the price of your property. So for our fees, if you are buying an apartment and you need a representation here in Dominican Republic, our fees is from 1% to 1.15% of the price of the unit. You can send us a message and we can see your case and send it to you a proposal with all the details. And practically you need to decide your apartment, have your ID on the day, and pay for our services, and we will be in charge of everything.
I would like to correct one part. The property taxes that Susana referred is only paid when the property is more than $170,000 roughly. It's an average, right? And that is annually taxed. So let's say, just to give you an example, I would like to correct that just to be clear. If the property is $200,000, and let's say the exemption of the tax for personal name is 175, I think now, I don't remember well, you only will pay 1% of $25,000. If the property you put on your name and it's less than 175, the average, I don't remember now the name in dollars because of the exchange rate, you don't pay taxes. If it's your only property and if it's in a personal name and it's less than 175, more or less average.
Okay. It sounds to me like it would be a good idea for us to recommend, though, that they get in touch with your services to be able to get a proper estimate as to what their cost might be.
Yes. And also to come to Dominican, regardless they buy or don't buy, come to Dominican. The weather is good. The beach is nice. The rum is good too. We have good coffee. And yes, so I don't know how's the weather over there now where you are, but here we have sunny day now, beautiful. And yes, the beach is closed, so that's a plus.
About the coffee, I subestimated the coffee, Dominican coffee, because I'll tell you this anecdote. I went to Argentina last July with my wife. My wife, she wanted to bring a lot of coffee from here. I said, well, why you have to bring coffee if anyway there is coffee everywhere, no? And you know what? In Argentina, it is so complicated to get a very good coffee. In almost 1 month, we never got one normal coffee. So, you know, when we came back, I say, okay, now I understand. Next time, let's feel the language of Dominican coffee because it is a good present.
Oh my God.
I have some friends abroad, and every time I travel and I go outside the country, and they know I'm coming. That's why I don't advise now. They ask for two things: rum and coffee.
Oh, yeah.
So you can deal with my bag, and I have to check the bag because they ask me for a bottle of rum and coffee. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I feel like my aunts when they're traveling now.
Actually, cacao, organic cacao is also very important. Okay, this is great. Pamela, what do you think? Do you have any more questions?
I don't think so. I think I wanted to pre-think about all the questions that my audience would be interested in asking to make sure that they understood the process a bit. But honestly, it really does sound very familiar for our investors to be able to easily purchase and then to consider what they would like to do in terms of their residency or just to visit, whatever it might be. You know, it really does sound like it's a familiar process. So I think you explained that, and now I understand much better, and I'm looking forward to sharing this video with all of this information to my audience and make sure that those Toronto people get down there before everything's sold.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you so much. And thank you, Chris, for your time. We appreciate it. And it was actually a very pleasure meeting you, Pamela, today.
I thank you all, and let's stay in touch.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.